Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Why don't you love me like I know you could? Everybody tells me how the rockin'.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. A long time ago, I went to the emergency room when I worked for the Juvenile Detention Center, and I was not in any emergency, but one of the clients in the facility needed some medical attention. So I was able to watch in the middle of the night how busy the doctors are and the nurses and all of the professionals at the hospital. And it occurred to me that what I do for a living, which is basically entertainment, is so small compared to what everybody else does. It's just like it's the lowest person on the totem pole. And then when everything settled down, I was able to hear the nurses and the doctors kind of get a moment to breathe. And you know what they were talking about? They were talking about the latest record that just came out or the latest TV show they had been watching. And I thought, well, I guess those of us who are in the media, who provide something entertaining, I guess there is a place for us. And so that's why I'm not so concerned about not doing 24/7 information about Irma. But we do have plenty of information, and we'll make sure we get it to a lot. Right now, it's time for Kelli Hart. She's on the phone today instead of in the studio, and I'm glad of that. It's time for Ocala Magazine Radio. Good morning, Kelli.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. You're in the showbiz field, too, in a way. Magazines are fun.
They are.
Don't you think?
I just had someone ask me this morning, shouldn't you be... I was out filling up sandbags, of course, like everybody else in town, and someone asked me, shouldn't you be writing? I'm like, I'll have a lot to write about when this is all over with, but, right now there's so many other priorities, so it is hard to focus on the task at hand when you have preparation to take care of.
Yeah, it was good to see you and Chris and the children the other day when you came out for First Friday Art Walk. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was wonderful. I was happy about the weather that night. I mean, ultimately, I think it ended up souring afterwards, but...
We did see Chris dancing to Obladi Oblada. I don't know if you caught him dancing. He was behind you.
I always catch him dancing.
Yeah, it was good to see you guys. So what are you doing? How are you? What's your circumstances personally? Are you in a flood zone, or you're getting sandbags? Do you normally get flooded?
Well, I don't normally, but where I live, in the community I live in, it's a gated community, and there's always an opportunity just based on kind of the lay of the land for heavy rains to find their way, between homes or between townhouses. And so we're just trying to do what we can, because the backside of my house is all glass. And so my concern is mostly if the water gets high enough that it could come through the glass doors and then ultimately flood my home. So just trying to really be preventative and try to do what we can. And luckily, I'm so thankful for the city of Ocala and all the volunteers and, council people and parks and rec people that were out there bagging stuff up all day. I mean, basically morning to dark, they're out there, and the line was just astronomically long. And, I drive a small car, so in cases like this, when you don't have a truck, you find yourself, filling up your back seat or your passenger side floorboard. And, and typically, I've lived in Florida all my life, and we always hear about the hurricanes, and I think that we have been so spoiled that we've gotten very minimal. Compared to what some cities have gotten, our damage has been so minimal that sometimes we take that for granted and just kind of chalk it off as, we make these jokes about, well, we'll just have a hurricane party, or, we don't need, But I think I've seen people take this so much more serious, which is great. I know I, myself, am taking this way more serious. And I've been tracking it. I got myself an app. I know I probably shouldn't, because watching it, I think, gives me a little bit of anxiety. But, I'm a faith-based person, so I think it just gives me an opportunity to pray harder when I feel like there's a need. So it's just been one of those things. But, all we can do is be prepared and take precaution and be with our family and be prepared. And that's what we're trying to do. For people like us who depend so much on power and the internet and being able to upload and download things to get to press, our biggest concern is not only what are we going to do during the storm, but where will that leave us after the storm in regards to still being able to operate as usual and get a publication out. So we have a long road ahead of us, but the priority right now is everybody's safety. So that aside, that's really where we're at.
And the one thing I wanted to say is that with you have a deadline for a magazine, and whatever happens today, we won't read for another month. But you've been using your Facebook as a way to kind of get out word instantly, as has Robin here. Robin's been doing the same thing here. So
yeah.
So it's a
well, there's been so much good communication. I mean, I'm really proud of Ocala in the way of communication, and this is one of those instances where sometimes social media can be a really negative thing, but it can also be so positive in the way of sharing information. I mean, the day I wanted to know where sandbags were, I asked on Facebook, and I mean, within a matter of minutes, I had people giving me exact locations to where I could find them, and where are the shelters, and what days will school be closed. And it's just been really a blessing to see people sharing that information and then being able, within a click of a button, to share it out, because that information could ultimately be life-saving. So in this case, we're happy about social media.
Yeah, the prayer now is that September 11th doesn't become another September 11th.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, the saddest part of all of this is the uncertainty. And so in being prepared, so many things have been canceled. And one of the things that we were looking forward to doing on Monday morning was meeting up at Mojo's, on September 11th and collecting food that we were then going to take to one of the fire stations to feed our, local firemen. And it's been postponed, so we'll still get a chance to do it. But I think it would have been kind of commemorative on that particular day because they're heroes, and just a way to mark and celebrate, what they do for us. And so just everything that's being postponed and canceled, and people that have worked hard. I mean, the Sweeney Todd people over at the Riley are probably in a panic. I know they've already postponed one of their shows, I think the Sunday show, and I just hope that everybody rushing to be prepared that their show doesn't go kind of unnoticed or unwatched because they've been working so hard. So it's just, it's just one thing after another, and it's really kind of tragic. But at the end of the day, these are all things that are like us, like what we do. It's entertainment, and our safety and our family safety becomes the biggest, most important thing. So
absolutely, yeah. I saw the new issue of Ocala magazine, and there's a beautiful lady on the cover who happens to be a good friend, and I happen to know that she's as beautiful inside as she is outside. Tell us about putting Manal Fakori on the cover. Tell us the story there.
Well, so, she just got invited. She has brought TEDx Ocala, of course, locally, and I think that's impacted so many local people and given local people an opportunity to also speak and tell their story and influence others in such a positive way. But now she has been invited to go to TEDx Jacksonville as a speaker, which is really huge because now someone from Ocala, someone very influential in Ocala, gets to then take and share her story with another city. And hopefully that creates a domino effect, and her positivity can now infect other cities and other places. So, I mean, what a perfect person to have on our cover because she's inspiring. I mean, there's nothing this woman doesn't do. I mean, I read down, the list of things that she does. I'm like, what does she not do? She's certified at this. She's like a ninja. She's climbed mountains. She's a mother. She's a speaker. She's a certified. I'm like, she does everything. And I don't know where she finds the time, but we're certainly proud that she commits to all those things and does all those things because she is just such a good influence in so many people, especially young people. I mean, she does that youth leadership thing, and then she also goes into the prison system and talks to inmates there who otherwise just may have no hope or no direction. And so she's just doing a lot of really great things, and that's the beauty of a city magazine. We love our fashion magazines, we love our Time magazines and Vanity Fairs, but the beauty of local magazines are we can handpick people, real people who are doing real things in our community and try to help spotlight them for what they're doing. So it was really our honor to have her on the cover, and I think the cover turned out just absolutely beautiful.
It's very classy. It's very appropriate for her. She's a classy lady and a classy. What's the word I'm looking for? Classily? Is that a word? A classily done photograph.
I think so.
What is that word? What word would go there? A classy photo. A classy photograph. Just a classy photograph, I guess.
Very classy photograph.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, it just really exemplifies who she is. Just a stunning, sophisticated, but very simple person. I mean, it's hard to say that she would be a simple person with all she does, but I mean, that's the truth of it. She's just a very simple person, and we are happy that she's a friend of the magazine. She's been a friend of Ocala magazine for years, and we are happy with the way the cover turned out. I know she was really ecstatic about the way the cover turned out, so it was just in good time. So it's nice within all the chaos. You know, it's funny when we start talking about the storm, and then the same week the magazine comes out, you know, usually we're just gloating about our magazine, and right now it's hard to gloat about something like that when there are people being devastated by a storm, but it is a little blip of positivity in what's happening around the world. So
yeah. Right.
Another beauty of local magazine,
Yeah. Tell
me
about.
It is a beautiful issue.
Tell me about your gasoline circumstances. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I saw, on the way back home to deliver some sandbags, I saw a line that was wrapped, kind of alongside the Cascades and then down 40, past the blood bank over kind of like towards Doritos. Yeah, and I was just like, wow, that's...
And that was for the gas station on that corner there?
Yeah, for the corner there.
Oh, wow.
And
really?
So people are sincerely taking this storm 10 times more serious than I've ever remembered in my lifetime. But, last night I saw this photo. Chris, I don't know if he found it or someone sent it to him, but it was a side-by-side comparison of Irma and Andrew. And I remember what Andrew did to South Florida. I mean, that storm wreaked havoc. And Irma compared to Andrew, I mean, it made Andrew look like child's play. So when I saw that and that perspective, I thought, okay, this is a big deal. This is really a really, really big deal, and I was already freaked out about it.
Did you guys happen to see pictures of the island of Barbuda? 90% of the homes were just gone. 90% of them. That's horrible.
Yes. It is horrible. It is horrible. But, this is a good opportunity, and I mean, I'm not one of those sugar-coated fluffy people. I'm human too, so I'm just as petrified as everybody else. And I love my things. I work hard for my things. But the truth of the matter is, these are really just things, and sometimes I wonder if, with all the chaos and hate and everything going on in the world, if this isn't Mother Nature or God or whatever you believe in's way of really putting in perspective what's important. And it certainly is not a thing.
Sure. Yeah, by the way, speaking of that, the U-Haul people are offering their storage units for free for 30 days. If you have anything that you think should be...
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
And we have two of them in Ocala, one on Pine and one on, oh my gosh, where was the other one? But anyway, there's two in Ocala, two U-Haul places.
Wow, that's nice.
Oh, the other one's on 17th. One's on 17th, yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. I mean, you really have to commend the people that in the midst of something like this aren't taking advantage of people. I've been kind of sickened by some of the places that have taken advantage of this by jacking up prices on things that we need to survive. If anything, slash the prices, help people out, get rid of it. It's just kind of a shame, but
yeah.
That's American greed for you.
I think what we see every single time is the mix. We see the people who are one step below Mother Teresa, and those who are one step above the devil. We see both sides of humanity during these times.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was kind of upset because in going and getting sandbags, it's really kind of a bag, like a fill your own bag situation. But they do have volunteers there, and there are plenty of volunteers that are just filling up bags, kind of grab and go type bags. And I was a little put off by how many people I saw, able-bodied people. Now, granted, I don't know everybody's situation, but just based off of observation and what I could see and assess, a lot of younger, able-bodied people jumping out, grabbing the ready-made bags, throwing them in their truck, whatever, and leaving out. And I'm thinking to myself,
wow,
there are so many elderly people and disabled people who obviously are not able-bodied. They cannot bag their own bags. So It would just be nice if thinking ahead, like maybe we could leave those bags for people who can't, who physically can't, who aren't able, so they can grab those and go. And, if you're of able body and you can fill your bags, try to do that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little harder and it's not as fun and you get sand in your shoes, but you know what? At the end of the day, it leaves an opportunity for everybody to have what they need to feel safe, to be safe. So, darn millennials.
Oh no. Let me take a little break and we'll be right back. Kelli Hart on the phone. This is Ocala Magazine Radio. I guess we would call this the Hurricane Irma edition, and we will be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A hurricane warning is in effect. Clouds and sun today. A couple of showers and a thunderstorm for this afternoon. High 87 to 91. Rather cloudy tonight. Low 75 to 80. A shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon tomorrow. High 85 to 89. Heavier rain and gusty winds from Irma moving in Saturday night and then continuing on Sunday. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Heather Zayer.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
All right, 22 minutes after 10 o'clock. Not a bad-looking Friday, but of course, we're not paying attention to today's weather today because of Hurricane Irma out there. I don't have anything new. I just did a refresh on the web, what do you call this thing? The National Weather Service on the web. Mm-hmm. Weather.gov, if you ever want to know where I go. And it's still saying the same thing. What it's saying, though, is good news and bad news. The bad news is we're still in the line of fire. The good news is that by the time it reaches us, it'll be a Category 2. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're looking for, the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess 2 is drastically improved from a 5.
2 is better than 5, but it's still 105 mile per hour winds and 135 mile per hour gusts. That's still enough to knock a tree down or make it dangerous. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of these old water oaks. The problem with these water oaks are, they're old and they're very strong, but we always think, oh God, okay, the storm's over. Whew, this tree survived it. What people don't realize is usually the time those trees are the most dangerous are days later. They've absorbed all the water they can, and they continue to absorb water to the point where they just can't even hold it any longer. And that's when you see trees fall and branches fall, and you're like, well, it's a beautiful sunny day and the storm's over. That's crazy. But, I would, for people that don't know that about water oaks, I would suggest not parking underneath any of them, for quite some time until they've had a chance to really dry back out and not be so hazardous.
Yeah. There are some magnificent ones. Do you ever see that one by Checkers on the Boulevard? Right near where your shop used to be.
Oh, yeah. I used to look at it every day out my window. It's probably one of the most beautiful oaks in Ocala.
Right. And you look at that tree and you wonder, that's been there all my life. It has to have been there. And I just, didn't notice it when I was younger. But, it's way older than me. It's got to be.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's just...
Yeah, most definitely. We just have to...
Did you ever see this?
To hope and pray that these things stand up against whatever weather brings their way, but inevitably, it's not. I mean, we have to go ahead and understand there are going to be buildings and homes that will be damaged. There will be trees that will be damaged and cars, and we just hope that no lives are injured. We just hope that if nothing else, that nobody's life is taken. I keep seeing these reports of other places and the death toll, and that to me is just. A tree can be replanted, a car can be replaced, a home can be replaced, but someone's life just cannot. So I hope people are really taking it serious, if nothing else, finding shelter and not doing, you know how people are though, Larry? They take advantage of this kind of stuff, like the guys that go out in the surf and they're like, oh, you know, I'm going to.
Yeah, one of them died.
And then, like, then they die. Yeah, no, like, you think? Yeah, you think? So hopefully Ocala's a little smarter than some of these, coastal surfers or whatever. But I do love that the schools are taking precaution. I just got a report this morning that schools are also closed Tuesday.
Wow, I didn't hear that. Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yeah, just got a call this morning from Kevin Christian on the way home that schools are also closed Tuesday, just as precaution, and also because the shelters will need to be still cleared out to make the school safe and open for students to return to school. And of course, if there's any other reports on that, if Wednesday or Thursday becomes an issue, I can always let you guys know too right away. But I just like that everybody is doing what they can to take a good precaution, because quite frankly, I just need to know my child is safe,
Absolutely, yeah.
I just need to know that she's safe.
And the schools have the other responsibility of being shelters, so they can't really have school if they're being used as shelters. Right. So that's why they're closed today, by the way, for those who wonder, why did they close schools today? It's because they have to get them ready.
Right, and I think that's what everybody is using today for. I know that my team at Ocala Magazine was wondering if we were going to work today, but, in my opinion, as their supervisor, I think they need to be home today, being prepared, taking precautions, getting things in order, because I obviously want my team to be safe and for their things to be safe and their homes to be safe. So, it'll set everybody back, of course, but it's going to set us back as a community. So I'm hoping that we'll all understand and work together as a community. And, if nothing else, maybe this will be a really good opportunity for us to put all of our differences aside and really just come together as Ocalans and not individuals with, different skin colors or backgrounds, and just like, hey, we're in this, all together. So
You would hope, right?
I would hope, and that's my prayer. So, I just hope that everybody is safe. I know that I will personally, Ocala Magazine will continue to share things online as we get information about things, and through the storm, as long as we have the ability, we'll continue to do that. I think that's a good resource for people who want information, local information. Obviously, there's plenty of national information out there, but any local information we get, we'll just continue to share it out. So that's the best that we can do. But we're a strong community. We really are, and I think that we have a great deal of people who are invested and willing to help and come together. And in times like this, it really does make you appreciate the community that you live in. So,
all right. Kelli, thank you for coming on today. I know you've got a lot to do, and it was nice of you to take a half hour to be on the phone with us. Just be careful, and we'll talk to you on next Friday.
Yes, you will. Take care, you guys.
Thank you, Kelli. All right, we'll be right back.
All right, bye-bye.
I don't care about no rocky and jive. Just wanna be your man tonight. Oh, Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Oh, Ocala, baby, what makes you...
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A hurricane warning is in effect. Clouds and sun today. A couple of showers and a thunderstorm for this afternoon. High 87 to 91. Rather cloudy tonight. Low 75 to 80. A shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon tomorrow. High 85 to 89. Heavier rain and gusty winds from Irma moving in Saturday night and then continuing on Sunday. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Heather Zayer.
Here is your 30-second news brief. Hurricane Irma is now projected to go right up the spine of Florida with hurricane-force winds 75 miles from the center. 2 Ocala U-Haul facilities are now offering 30 days of free self-storage. Utilities are prepared to address power outages and are warning to stay clear of fallen power lines. And the kickoff of Florida's homecoming football game against Northern Colorado has been moved to noon tomorrow. And that is your news brief from your emergency alert station, WOCA The Source. Be sure to tune in to hear about innovative financial strategies on the long-running program Prosper with Keith Singer. You will learn about intelligent ways to safely grow and preserve your wealth, create reliable income streams, and maximize your legacy. Tune in Saturday at 8:05 a.m. and again on Sunday at 10:05 a.m. Prosper with Keith Singer.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. Hurricane Irma's gotten a little weaker, still a Category 4 storm, though, that could get stronger again, moving over water between Cuba and the Bahamas.
It's not a question of if Florida's going to be impacted, it's a question of how bad Florida's going to be impacted and where the storms ends up over the next 4 to 5 days as it passes inland.
FEMA Administrator Brock Long, more than 500,000 people are ordered to leave South Florida. President Trump tweets, Hurricane Irma is of epic proportion.